Hello mate, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, Football Therapy with me, your host, Yan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that in these frustrating times with perhaps the lack of signings, but if things are happening, things will happen. Chelsea will make signings. Deep breath in together. And exhale. We're going to be alright. Thank you for joining me today. We're talking about not necessarily all positive news, but stuff that I did want to reflect on. Cucurella choosing City. Unsurprisingly, we'll go into details about that. Chelsea, of course, targeting the Brighton left back. Ousmane Dembele's comments when being posed a question about coming to Chelsea in French. Yes, whether we'll take that seriously or not, we'll have to see. And also, I'm going to read an article from The Express talking about Raheem Sterling splits opinion in the Chelsea fan base, but he might just be what Thomas Tuchel wants. Excuse me, settle in, get comfortable. Thank you for dropping a like, it means a lot. I appreciate all your interactions, subscriptions, falling off the desk there, comments, etc. Let's start off. We'll talk about Ousmane Dembele second in his comments, but let's start off with Cucurella. The report suggesting, this is off hitc.com, report suggesting £45 million player wants to join Manchester City, not Chelsea. Now, Brighton charging £45 million for Marc Cucurella doesn't shock you, shouldn't shock you at all. 50 million for Ben White to Arsenal. Cucurella is very exciting. He's young. He looks like built for the Premier League. Brighton Hove Albion left back Marc Cucurella wants to join Pep Guardiola's Manchester City and not Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea or Antonio Conte's Tottenham Hotspur, according to The Athletic. So interestingly, with Spurs and Chelsea, he's choosing the conventional left back role over a potential left wing back role, and left wing back is more exciting because you get forward more and there's one more defender behind you. So often you'd find like fullbacks preferring to be wing backs. Now this is unsurprising, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you in 2 words: Ben Chilwell. Mic drop, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea will need to replace Marcus Alonso with a good rotational option at left wing back that will play a lot of minutes, but probably and almost certainly not start over Ben Chilwell. Now, it's it doesn't hurt too much to say this, but Man City are better than Chelsea at the moment. So to be a start, they need a left back ever since Benjamin Mendy had all his problems, and Zinchenko isn't really playing his best football at left back. He's not really a left back. They need the champions of England, the team that have won 4 out of the last 5 Premier Leagues, they need a starting left back. And they're very good in Guardiola. So, or you can join, Chelsea, who have finished 3rd and 4th last couple of seasons, as a rotational option going up against, maybe the best left wing back in the game on form. I wouldn't take it too personally, ladies and gentlemen, and I just wanted to highlight that. Also, £45 million for a rotational option. Maybe you'd rather get one of the kids in there. I'd rather Emerson Palmieri / Ian Matson, the lad, the Youth Academy product. Give them rotational options. See what happens. Hopefully have Chili B for the majority of the upcoming season. So we are going to talk about Raheem Sterling in just a moment. We're going to talk about an article from The Express from a chap called Lewis Winter. But let's start off with let's carry on with Ousmane Dembele's quotes. There's a video here. He's being filmed in a car with his mate. He's in the passenger seat, I think. I don't think he's driving. And they've got the windows down, and the French guy starts, shouting at him and has like a really fleeting, quick conversation with Ousmane. You can find it yourself on social media. It's all over the gaff. It's got 250,000 views in the last hour or something. So Ousmane pulls up next to him. Chap filming says, all in French, and I speak a bit of French, but I struggle to hear this. So fortunately, we've got the translation here. He goes, Ousmane, are you staying at Barca? To which Ousmane Dembele replies, yeah. And then he says, I heard you might go to Chelsea. Ousmane smiles, doesn't really make a response to that. And then the chap filming again and finally says, but Tuchel, aren't you interested? And then Ousmane replies and ends the dialogue here with, I feel good at Barca. So are you staying at Barca? Yes. You going to Chelsea? No response. Aren't you interested in joining Tuchel at Chelsea? I feel good at Barca. Now, This is a player saying this, so you might be like, why would he say that if it's not true? But at the same time, he's in this car with his mate. Even though he's speaking, I don't know if he's speaking French. I mean, he is speaking French, but I don't know if he's in France or in Spain. Because, someone might just be a person who speaks French, might just see him and speak French to him. I guess maybe France. Why? I mean, maybe he's like, until a deal is done, until I'm like, because he's technically still in the contract for like 12 days. Maybe he's just complete defense mechanism, PR training, saying, unless I know I'm going somewhere, I'm not going to... I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And why would he be like, yeah, I'm going to Chelsea? And there'd be a lot of people like angry with him. I don't know. I feel like you just say the status quo until things are decided in the background. Despite that, Chelsea fans won't like to hear it because it is the player ultimately himself saying he feels good at Barca and he's staying at Barca. Whereas he could have just said, hey man, yeah, I'm undecided, yeah, I'm having a thing, yeah, I've read about it, whatever. You could literally do that. So maybe he's having a bit of fun, winding him up, maybe he just feels like this is a defense mechanism, and maybe he's not coming to Chelsea, and maybe it is all just a ploy to get a better contract at Barcelona. But lest we forget, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are on the brink of financial ruin. Let me just sip my Lucozade. Other drinks are available. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's not the kind of stuff you want to see. This would be much more of an exciting story if Dembele went, yeah, I think so. Like, are you coming to Chelsea? Yeah, I hope so. They won the Champions League recently in Tuchel, London. Yeah, hopefully I get to go to Chelsea, That's what we all want to see, but... He said, nah, happy at Barca. But I don't think he is happy at Barca, and I don't think Barca can spend the money to register him. So we'll see what happens there. Oh, it's a story. It's something that happened, and I wanted to react to it. And certainly get you guys' thoughts on it, because, what does that mean? Does it mean nothing? I kind of feel like it might mean nothing. But it's something, because something's been said. Let's move on. Raheem Sterling... An article from the Express. Chelsea really exploring Raheem Sterling transfer, but waiting on the key Man City update. Chelsea are really exploring the opportunity to sign Raheem Sterling this summer, according to reports. However, the Blues are waiting for Man City to put a price tag on the England international. Of course, it looks highly likely they will sell Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal for around £50 million, maybe a little bit less. Interesting. Sterling is out of contract at the Etihad at the end of next season. He was not always a regular Premier League starter last term, with just 23 of his 30 appearances coming as a starter. Now that's wild. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek made 40 appearances. If I told you, in all competitions, if I told you before this article, right, who had more appearances in all competitions last season, and you learned that Ruben Loftus-Cheek had 25% more appearances than Raheem Sterling, you'd be like... Anyway, let's read on, and I'll give you my opinion on Sterling in a moment. The 27-year-old still managed 13 goals and 5 assists, 18 goal involvements, pretty decent, but the arrivals of Erling Haaland and Julian Alvarez could limit his game time further, absolutely. Chelsea have been linked with Sterling, and transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has now given an update. He claims yesterday Chelsea are seriously looking at Sterling as an option this summer, but City are yet to state how much they'd want for him. Speaking to on the Here We Go podcast, Romano said, there is genuine interest from Chelsea in Raheem Sterling. And I know a lot of you guys would be like, oh, here we go, Interest FC, Inquiry FC, Monitoring FC, but... There's a long way to go in the transfer window. We're getting a lot of important stuff done first, and one of those big things actually is Romelu Lukaku. They really want to sort that out first. Let's read on, see what Fabrizio says. They're really exploring this possibility. There is no negotiation yet with Man City and Chelsea. At the moment, there isn't direct talks, but the interest from Chelsea in Sterling's situation, they're waiting to see how much would be the price tag. I'll give you my thoughts in just a second. Sterling joined City from Liverpool 2015, was won 4 Premier League titles, 4 League Cups, and an FA Cup during his time at the club. However, he was brought up in London and could be making a return to the capital this window. Former Chelsea left-back Scott Minto believes it was a really good... He wants him, basically. Yeah, look, he's a London boy. He lives around... He grew up around Wembley. He probably likes the idea of going back to London. He's 27, entering his prime, a new part of his career. He's scored a lot of goals. He's won a lot of titles. He's an important player for England. He's been, like, the form player often, even when Harry Kane's not scoring. And you get why he would want it, Chelsea to give him good wages, but he wants to play football. And if Chelsea say, you can play football here, I think he's probably got a lot of friends in the Chelsea camp as well, like the England boys. Like, I think he gets on with Hudson-Odoi, Mason Mount, Reece James, etc., etc. How do I feel? It's very difficult at this point, guys, with attackers and Chelsea, because we've all been scarred so many times before, and I think Raheem Sterling, we'd need to sell an attacker, obviously. So you think, is Raheem Sterling, if we sell a Pulisic or a Werner, who generally play down that left-hand side, if we sell one of those and bring in Raheem Sterling, odds are you're going to feel better. Now, Raheem Sterling will cost a lot of money because he's high profile. He just wins a lot of Premier Leagues under Pep Guardiola. He's 27. He's right in the slot. I know he's only got a year left in his deal, but he'll still cost a lot of money. But if Chelsea sell a player that they can make 30-40 million on the sale and then spend the extra 10 million on Raheem Sterling or something to revitalise the attack, it might feel like a worthy deal. A lot of us want the Ousmane Dembele's, of course, the aforementioned in this video. Will he come, won't he come? You know, that's more of a sexy signing. But I've said on this channel a few videos ago, it is a sexy signing, but it's also a player that's always injured and has historical attitude problems and has never actually played in the Premier League, which is, of course, a very physical and fast league. Raheem Sterling is very professional. He's been coached by Guardiola. He's scored plenty of goals in the Premier League, and he's 26. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you'll feel deflated because it's, like, the sensible option, you know? Like, you know, I'm trying to think of an analogy in my head. Like, you're a kid, you want to go out and whatever you dress yourself in because you think it's colourful and weird, but your parents go, no, it's raining. It's pragmatic to wear this grey coat. You don't want to do it, but like you'll be ultimately better off for it. Is that a good analogy for Raheem Sterling? Almost certainly not. But what I'm saying is, man, it might not be that sexy, and, you know, if he doesn't do well, City, there'll be the banter, but then if he does do really well, it'll feel great for Chelsea fans, you know, if he bags a few goals. Yes, you're right to have your criticisms about conversion rate and missed chances, but his application application worked great. He's generally very consistent in the Premier League, not a high-octane goal scorer, but we could bring in all these European forwards and strikers like, oh, look how many goal involvements in their league. We had it over and over and over. And not just, you know, recently Lukaku and Timo Werner, who are, by the way, our two highest earners at the club. It's historically, you know, more than... You go back, you can choose other, you know, forwards. There's so many, man. There's so many. Hakim Ziyech with his goal involvements, you know, for Ajax and in the Champions League. You know, other strikers, even like Higuain when we got him and stuff on loan. Like, it goes back forever. So if you bring in a player that's been playing in the league, been playing in the front three, knows some other players around him from his England national team, you know, he'll be happy in the city that he grew up in, London. Do you know what I mean? Like, or do you want to take a risk on some, like, you know, Belgium League One Wunderkid up and coming? I know we all want that Football Manager vibes, but ultimately we just want footballers. And if the manager, Thomas Tuchel, says, yes, this is my decision, I want Raheem Sterling. If he says that, and by the way, we are to believe, reports suggest, by all accounts, that everything's running through Thomas Tuchel now, or certainly a great deal, like unprecedented amounts of control when it comes to transfers. And if you're like me, you love Thomas Tuchel, he's won us our second European Cup, he's navigated us for a really difficult, turbulent time, he has earned this opportunity. If he says, I want Raheem Sterling, then hot dog, man, give him his player, do you know what I mean? Anyway, that's certainly where I'm at. Let me know what you think. Fabrizio Romano here saying he's a very serious target for Chelsea Football Club. Comment down below. I'm very keen to get your thoughts on this, man. You know, as soon as there are movements and as soon as there's updates, let me know what you think about the Ousmane story as well, with, you know, the dialogue. Let me know what you think, though. As soon as there's other updates, I will upload immediately, so make sure you turn on the bell when you subscribe, and I look forward to giving you guys my reaction to more headlines very soon. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double, silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper.